Hello, sweetheart. I'm going to read you a beautiful story so you can feel warm and cozy under your blankets. If you want, you can set your phone or tablet aside and let your imagination spark to life. The Slow Afternoon at Tulipwish Hill. At the edge of a quiet village, where the rooftops looked like tiny hats and the chimneys puffed the softest curls of smoke, there was a gentle hill called Tulipwish Hill. The hill wasn't very tall and it wasn't very steep, but it was covered from top to bottom in tulips of every color you could imagine. There were pale pink tulips that looked like morning clouds, yellow tulips that glowed like warm lanterns, soft purple tulips that swayed like sleepy dancers, and white tulips that shimmered in the sunlight like little cups of cream. On warm days, the whole hill smelled sweet and clean. At the foot of Tulipwish Hill lived a small hedgehog named Millie. Millie had soft spines, tiny paws, and a gentle smile that everyone loved. She adored quiet moments, warm sunshine, and the rustling sound tulip petals made when the breeze brushed past. One afternoon, Millie stepped outside her burrow with a long, slow stretch. Today feels like a perfect hill day, she said softly. She packed a tiny satchel with her favorite things, a small blanket, a leaf cup, 2 honey biscuits, and a smooth pebble she liked to hold when she felt cozy. Then she began her slow, steady walk toward Tulipwish Hill. As she moved through the tall grass, a pair of butterflies floated beside her, their wings flapping so gently they barely made a sound. Millie giggled as one of them drifted close and tickled her ear. When she reached the base of the hill, she stopped to take in the view. All the tulips swayed softly as if greeting her. The breeze moved in warm, lazy currents. The sky overhead was a soft blue, dotted with fluffy white clouds drifting like cotton. Millie placed her paw on the first patch of grass and climbed the hill slowly, not because it was hard, but because she liked taking her time. She passed clusters of tulips that rustled quietly, brushing gently against her sides as she walked. Halfway up, she heard a familiar squeak. Her friend Nibble, a tiny mouse with round ears and a tiny nose, popped out from between 2 tulip stems. "Oh, Millie," Nibble chirped. "I knew I smelled honey biscuits." Millie laughed softly. "You have the best nose in the whole meadow." Nibble scurried closer and asked, "Are you going to your usual spot?" "I am," Millie said. "Want to join me?" Nibble nodded so fast his whiskers bounced. Together they walked up the hill, weaving gently between clusters of tulips. The petals brushed their fur like soft, sleepy fingers. At the top of Tulipwish Hill was a small circle of flat stones warmed by the sun. Millie spread her blanket over one of them and sat down. Nibble curled beside her, tucking his tail neatly around his paws. They looked out over the meadow. From up high, everything seemed calmed. The grass drifted in long, slow waves. Birds glided instead of flapped. The clouds moved like drifting boats. Millie handed Nibble a tiny piece of biscuit. He nibbled it slowly, savoring every crumb. "This is the coziest place in the world," Nibble whispered. Millie nodded softly. "I think so, too." A warm breeze drifted past, rustling the tulips. Their petals made a soft swishing sound, almost like the hill was whispering a lullaby. Soon another friend arrived. Bruno, a gentle, sleepy tortoise, made his slow journey up the hill. "Oh, hello," Bruno said in a long, warm voice. "Is there room for one more?" "Always," Millie said kindly. Bruno settled on the edge of the blanket, his shell absorbing the warm sunlight. For a long moment, none of them spoke. They just listened to the breeze, to the tulips swaying, to the faint hum of distant bees. Nibble curled up beside Millie. Bruno let his eyes drift halfway closed. Millie lay back on the blanket, feeling the soft warmth soak into her spines. The clouds overhead moved slowly, so slowly that Millie tried to guess their shapes. "That one looks like a pillow," she murmured. Nibble whispered back, "That one looks like a sleepy turtle." Bruno smiled without opening his eyes. Fitting. The breeze grew softer, the air warmer, the tulips quieter. Every moment became slower, cozier, sleepier. Millie felt her eyes growing heavy. Nibble's tiny breaths were getting steady. Bruno let out a long, contented sigh. Tulipwish Hill felt like a giant, warm blanket. Millie whispered, "I think the hill wants us to rest." Nibble squeaked softly in agreement. Bruno made a happy hum, and there, surrounded by warm stones, swaying tulips, and the soft whisper of a gentle breeze, the three friends drifted into a cozy, peaceful nap, while the hill watched over them like a quiet, loving guardian. Good night, sweetheart.